Hello and welcome to part 2 of session 0 of what will be an ongoing campaign on this channel. This channel will vary between one-shot games with a rotating cast using the Fate Accelerated system, but this is a campaign using the Fate Core system that we've gone into some quite detailed character creation and world building with the same group of players who will keep repeating. We'll be recording every session. This is session 0, obviously it's our intro session for the players as much as anything. And then the session will be cut up into a number of episodes, 3 or 4 episodes, that'll go out in little bundles between the other games. So this is an ongoing story, but it won't be continually going out, if you see what I'm saying. It'll still be in the same schedule as the rest of the show. This show, if you don't know, goes out every couple of weeks on Podbean, and you can find it on iTunes and Stitcher and other podcasting apps you may use. Please also find us on Twitter at A Game of Fate Pod, or find A Game of Fate Podcast on Facebook. Give us a like and a subscribe and a review if you enjoy the show. If you do enjoy the show, please do tell your friends, post it about, just tell strangers, tell people in the street, tell anyone. Because we really enjoyed making it, we'd really love to continue making it if there's some enthusiasm. But this is A Game of Fate, and if for some reason listening to this and you have no idea what the show is, it's a show where we play a role-playing game called Fate. It's a storytelling game, and we're here to tell a story. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, it's a really good introduction to the world and these characters, so I suggest you probably go back and do that. But this is part 2, we're getting into the game now. It's picking up straight off of the end of part 1, so where 2 of the characters had just finished a poker game, a third one was being brought in to speak with them, and the fourth one and final is going to arrive soon as well. So we're picking right off at the end of the introduction from the last episode. And here we are playing for the first time. So this is all the players playing together for the first time. Some of them, we've tested the game out a little bit, but effectively everyone's playing their characters for the first time and with each other for the first time. And it's we had to ease into it, but yeah, no, it's been good fun. And like I say, we'd really love to keep making more. So please do give us some love if you can. Anyway, I won't waste any more of your time. Please do enjoy the show. Hello, you're listening to Session 0 of our long-running campaign game. You may have listened to some of the previous sort of one-shot games that I've made that have kind of been test recordings, but we've all been leading up to this. How exciting for us. So this is going to be a longer campaign using the Fate Core rules rather than the Fate Accelerated rules. And this is our Session 0, so we've already done character creation, which is obviously a big part of Fate, but it took us about I'm going to say 2 or 3 days of character creation we did before we've actually sat down here.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Anyone that knows Fate will know that character creation and world building is a big part of the game. And it's a lot of fun, but I didn't think it would be that interesting, recording people mostly writing on paper and pencil scratching and things like that. First of all, I want to introduce our players. Myself first, why not? Because I am your game master, as per usual. My name is Christian. You can find me online at Christian's Brain. That's Christian with a K on Twitter. You may have, as I say, you may have heard some of the previous episodes of this, or you may be coming here from the Deleted Scene podcast, which is my other show, which you can find online at Deleted Scene Pod on Twitter, or the Deleted Scene podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And you can find the show on SoundCloud and iTunes. There'll be links in the description below. But that's me. I'm your Games Master. I am God of this universe. And I've been controlling and manipulating you all like puppets. But who the hell are you? Let's start at this end.
Hi, I'm Lee. I'm an actor. I'm a writer. I'm a sometime academic. That's about it. Yeah.
Hey, I'm Christopher Lane, and I'm a musician, primarily, when I'm not Christian's puppet.
You often are my puppet. You disappear for days since you've just been puppeting for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, I'm Jay. I am just Christian's puppet.
I do nothing else.
Yeah. I'm also an actor and a writer and amongst other things. Yeah.
I'm Neve. I'm a actor and director. And I am actually an adult, even though my voice sounds like a child. Just to clear that up for everyone.
She's a grown-up person. Cool. And you guys have played other games with me before. We've played Fate. We did like a test game of this.
Yeah.
That was it.
But the... Yeah.
well, I played an abortive game of Fate with you.
Oh, you did? Yes, we started a game of Fate a while back. We played, did a couple
I think
of
we
sessions.
learned from that.
Yeah.
Not
I
not
never
to play
run it
Fate
before.
like that.
Yeah, I'd never run it before, and we kind of stumbled through it in a weird kind of way. But it was interesting characters. You were part robot or something.
Yeah.
Or you thought you were just a robot. I can't remember now. You were Floyd something or other.
Yeah. It's all a
I've
bit
almost
Blade
forgotten
Runner,
that game.
I think. Yeah.
But Chris, Jay and Eve, we played D&D.
Yep.
Yes.
Because you guys were trying to get a D&D game for running for about like a year or something.
Yeah. 10 years.
Our entire lives.
Yeah. Exactly.
Spent trying to get, and then I stumbled across you and was like, "Hey, I'd love to run a D&D game," even though again I'd never done it before.
Worked out quite well.
Good work. Good work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're still playing at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, when we can.
Everyone's been on various holidays through the summer.
Where
so
are you
we've
at
been
the
struggled.
moment? Though? What's
Trouble.
happening?
Yeah, we left it at a very precarious point. I don't know if we're going to survive.
Well,
Big trouble.
I thought Christian thought it was just going to be over in one session because he gave us 6 days in game time. But we're on the 4th day.
Yeah.
After about 12
8
sessions.
sessions. Yeah, no, a lot's happened. Shit's hit the fan. That's been a lot of fun. I hope to be getting back to that soon once everyone's back in the country or finished from what they're doing. I think Lee's still away.
No, I think he's back now.
I did. He said you couldn't do early. It doesn't matter. It's not relevant to this podcast. So this game here, we're going to sit down and we're going to be playing in a ongoing game rather than the other previous sessions have all been like 3 or 4 games, but this is going to be however the hell long until we get sick of it or you're all dead in the game.
Whichever happens first.
So here we are in the back room of the Flying Fox, a pub that Adam slips the owner of a little bit of coinage here and there just to let him use his little gang use this backroom space for whatever they need to. But you've had a poker game, as we heard in the intro, and it's just you now and Garrett left at this table. You've managed to fleece the other players, and you sent one of your minions off to fetch Yobanjo a little while ago now. And as you wait, suddenly the door opens and in comes this guy. Which one is it? Oh, let's see. I've got them all their names written down here somewhere. So let's say it was.
Oh, which member of his gang?
Yeah, let's say it was the Bourne. It was Ringo. So your gang.
So they are all named after the
His gang is named Ringo, Paul, George, and John, and Ringo is the Bourne. So Ringo comes in with Yobanjo behind him. He basically just showed up. You're usually at the temple, usually can be found there late at night because it tends to be where you, or more often than not, you probably doss down there, or you probably be there helping your mentor, Yamigi, doing whatever she needs to do.
Yeah.
He popped up and just like, Adam wants to see you. He struggles with the name as well. Adam wants to see you.
That's why he's the brawn.
It's not the brains. And then he just sort of marched off, assuming you were going to follow him.
Yeah.
But the door swings open and he steps inside with your banjo behind. He just glances over to you, points over his shoulder and says, "Your homeless weirdo is here."
Not homeless.
Whatever, dude. He just walks off and takes a seat. The rest of your gang is sort of milling about in here as well.
Okay. All the other players have.
The other players have left, just you 3 and the 4 members, John, Paul, George and Ringo.
Welcome. I think it's the first time you've been in here, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's a nice establishment.
Feel free to, if you need a place to stay for the night, then.
I have the temple
Okay.
most times. Garrett, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
It's been a while. So, why am I here?
Yeah, so obviously you've met Garrett before,
Yeah, we
Yep.
spoke.
and he was telling me that you've had conversations about the company WX.
I have. Or we have. As have you and I.
Yeah. So, as we have spoken about before, I mean, it's kind of quite funny that obviously all 3 of us all seem to have these special powers and all aren't quite sure exactly where they've come from. But the one thing that ties us is the name WX. Now,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to find out and get to the bottom of who this company is. Turns out, Garrett, on your last conversation, actually lied and said he didn't know where the facility
Well,
was.
I stretched the proof.
It's okay.
But apparently he does know where this facility is.
It was a long time ago.
And you can still remember. So let's talk about it. Because
I
it's in all of our
suspect it's
interests.
abandoned.
That's
No.
fine. Abandoned is better, actually. Because then we can explore it, potentially.
At this point, the door swings open again, and Morgana or Morgana?
Morgana.
Morgana. Get that right as well. Morgana steps inside. You have a one of your a package of information or package of sort of your notes from some of your previous encounters that you occasionally come to drop off, and you step through and just sort of glance, see these three odd group. Adam, obviously, when you're like practically like a wandering monk. And the 60-plus-year-old man who you remember from before.
Met.
Yeah, you remember him being a bit of a weirdo.
Yeah, I remember him.
So they don't make the most logical trio, but they're sat around this poker table that's obviously a game's just finished, and you're coming over to pass off the information.
Were you expecting her?
She works for me.
Oh, I know where she lives.
John jumps up from his behind his computer desk. He's got a slight cybernetic implant in one side of his head, and one of his eyes is clearly not a normal eye. He's Adam's hacker of his little team, and he jumps up, very pleased to see you. He says, hi, Morgan. Hi, some information for us. It's good to see you.
Oh, hi, John. Yeah, I've got some for Adam. Is he busy? Can I interrupt?
I can take it and look after it, make sure it gets put into the computer. It's not a
Okay,
problem,
well, I'll
isn't it?
trust you with this.
Do you want to, you hang out? We'll just get some drinks and we're just sort of chilling back here. If you want to, just it'd be nice to.
I mean, if there's nothing else that he wants me to do, then I can hang out for a bit. Yeah, of course.
I don't know. I'd have to ask. I think they're deep in conversation. Meanwhile, Chris, you've looked over character name Yobanjo. You sort of glance over in curiosity, and the familiar voice of your wife in your head creeps in with, "Oh, that's interesting."
No. You could have told me that before when I was staking out her house, darling.
I didn't see her this close before.
Well,
I haven't seen her kind on the mainland for.
Ah, so she's not one of us then.
By the way, Yobanjo's just talking to himself at this point.
Is this?
Oh, don't mind me. It's a form of meditation that I do. Chanting, I call it.
You're going to have to teach me that.
Yes,
in the
I
next
will.
class.
Yeah. We'll go over that one.
Brilliant. But so, do you guys know Morgana as well?
Yes.
How do you know Morgana?
Yeah, well, we've encountered each other in passing.
I don't really know much about your history, really, do I?
Nope.
You only know what she's told you.
Yeah, I know her because she lives in the apartment of a good friend of mine
Right.
who has been missing for at least a year.
More importantly, is she going to be brought in the conversation we're having right now?
Well, this is what I'm just trying to work out. Does she know anything about WX as well?
I know nothing about what she knows about. But I do know that the person whose house she's living in worked for WX and was helping me look into them as an organisation. So she could know something.
Okay. John.
Are you going to call John over?
Yeah.
He's busy sort of fawning over.
Okay, John.
Yeah, it's going up. Yeah, boss.
Just bring Morgana over to the table. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah, I was just going to get her a drink, but yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah, you can get a drink first if you want to.
You're very aware that John is completely smitten with Morgana. Yeah, John scurries back and goes, I'll get you that drink now, but Adam, I think he wants a word.
Oh, okay.
Adam wants a word, yeah.
Sure. Hi.
Morgana. Just to let you know, John's synthetic eye.
Uh-huh.
It records everything, any likes to kind of Photoshop some of the images. So just to
Oh,
kind of
okay.
get to what he does.
Thanks for the heads up.
Hey,
I'll
make it creepy.
keep out of his eye line.
I hope
Anyway.
he's not done that with any of mine.
Have you seen the way he stares at me?
Mhm.
Yeah, come to the table because, as I understand, you've actually met both Fluke and Yobanjo here already.
We haven't met.
I don't believe we've met. I
We've
do
met
recognise
once
you,
or
yeah.
twice.
Hi.
Hi.
How do you know this
Fluke
guy?
is somewhat my lucky charm.
Hmm.
Okay.
We work closely together.
We met in the can, and ever since then I've kept him close by. And Yobanjo's been teaching me a few things about myself.
Okay.
And now you're working as a courier for it.
Yeah, I mean it gets me to do
Mm.
a few things.
I'm surprised Path 7 crossed more regularly before.
Well, it's often quite delicate work. Should I be talking about this in front of?
Well, the reason why I just called you over is because literally just had Yobanjo come here because me and Fluke have been talking about WX, the
Okay.
facility. And Yobanjo also has information on this WX. And Fluke,
Yeah, but years ago.
apparently, potentially, and I don't doubt his ability to find it, might know where this facility is.
If it's still operating.
Yobanjo just told me that there's some guy you know who potentially was looking into also WX.
Unfortunately, my friend, informant, who happened to live at your flat, disappeared a while ago.
What was the name of this perennial?
James.
How do you know James?
James was my friend.
How do you know, James?
Yeah.
He was my friend too.
And why is he not living in the flat that you're living in anymore?
I'm sorry, I don't really know you. It's quite a personal question to ask.
This is true, but if you are friends with James, then you must be a trustworthy person.
James is unfortunately dead.
What? How?
I don't know who you are. I don't need to tell you every little thing about my life.
But the fact that he's dead, that's problematic for all of us.
Morgana, you can trust Yobanjo.
Well, it's suspicious.
Look, all I can tell you is that he went missing, and I know that he's dead.
And he was someone you knew before you came here
Yeah, he's the reason why I came here.
to Seminole.
Ah, when did you come here then?
A few years ago.
James was looking into WX for me. He was my informant. Do you know who WX are?
I mean, I know
Nobody-
of them.
Nobody really knows who they are.
Have you heard? You've heard of them though.
I've heard of
Yeah.
them. I don't know why you're also interested in it though.
Right,
Okay.
So, let me get this straight. So you knew James. He was an informant finding out information on WX. And
Yeah.
what was your
Interest
in WX?
WX have. I know of a facility that WX held me at a long time ago. My mother died in that facility, and I'm trying to find out why.
Is this a separate facility, or you're suggesting?
I don't know.
this is one?
I don't know where your facility is. This is why I'm interested in it.
And Fluke has also been to a facility and had tests on him. My interest is, a long time ago, back when I was a kid, something happened to me, and I just know that WX may have had some kind of involvement in it. So I've always had an interest in trying to find out exactly who this company is, because my life hasn't been the same ever since that day. So, from the sounds of things, I think all four of us have some kind of connection in terms of this James character and what he knows about WX.
But he's dead.
Yeah. But I mean...
So he's not going to be telling us anything.
Look, there is some papers and things at my house that I will look in for you, Adam. I don't know if I trust these people, but if it's important to you, I'll look into it, okay?
Thank you, I appreciate that. And I think we should go there now.
There's something about you too that's untrustworthy. It's not quite of this place.
Well, you know, I'm new in town, so...
You mean the Market District? What?
No, I mean of this...
Somaliland?
You're very nosy, aren't you?
I
Want to
am.
know all the little things about my life.
I do. You're living in my friend's flat. You appeared there after he died, and no one in this city knows who you are.
Do you know everyone in this city to know not whom I am?
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't know that. You don't know that no one knows who she is.
Presumptuous.
For a start, everyone you've met here knows who she is.
Fair.
Yeah. Rivalry.
How well do you know Yobanjo?
I've never seen him before.
I've never seen him before.
He's... No.
Yeah.
I've never seen him before.
He says a lot of weird things anyway,
Okay.
so...
All right.
How long have you known him?
Talks to himself.
Well, shall we go to my flat then?
Can I get George to drive us?
Oh yeah, George is your driver, isn't
Yeah.
he? I could have really said it. Yeah. George and Paul are just lounging about playing a video game in the background.
Okay, cool. Can you give the address to George? We'll go there.
Sure. Giving the address to George.
Yes. Yeah, sure, all right. He holds up the controller, and he's like, "John, do you want it?" John just come back with this martini. Sure. He passes you the martini.
Oh, thank you very
and goes over
much.
and takes the controller.
Is there one for all of us?
No, just for Morgana. Yeah, so he sits down and George comes over and goes, "Where are you off to, boss?"
We're going to the tech.
Yeah,
Tech
the
district.
tech district, please.
Sure, why
I
not?
don't know how I knew that, but yeah.
Well, you've probably been to my house before, to
You
be
know
fair.
where she comes
Yeah,
from.
it's quite possible.
Yeah.
Exit the Flying Fox.
I
It's
guess
it's fairly late, so it's quiet out front. There's maybe a couple of people, but they're working towards last orders at this point. It's not a busy place. That's why you quite like it. And you exit out front where your vehicle is. What sort of car do you have?
Mercedes.
That's an in-joke that no one on this podcast.
Which talks.
Oh.
Ooh, fancy.
Ah.
Sure, yeah. So, which one is it? George. George steps up. He'll open the door, the back door for you guys to let you in. Someone presumably have to sit in the
Thanks,
front
George.
Yeah. It's going to be quite a squish in the back.
with him. All four of you. I assume you're probably going to take the passenger seat.
Yeah.
And that these three can squeeze in the back.
I need to get a limo. That's what I'm put my notes.
You don't have to transport this many people. Put in your short-term goals. Buy a limo.
Get a bigger car.
Drives you through the city, through the dark and relatively quiet city, to Morgana's apartment.
I want to try and gauge what this vibe's going on here.
Any conversations you want to have in the car? Squeeze.
Well, it looks as though all of us are stuck in the
In the
position
back of a car.
of having of having had our lives changed irrevocably by WX. So
I wouldn't go
in-
that far. I wouldn't say.
It's not
Yeah,
really
my
changed
life
my
has
life
changed.
specifically that
Really?
much, as far as I'm
Well,
concerned.
Ah, but it has mine and it has an
Well,
arm.
I
Fine.
care about Adam, so I will help you in this instance.
You're not.
I'd really like to know what happened to James, because if that hasn't affected your life, then what's going on here?
All I know is that he worked for someone. There's a few letters in this flat that has WX on it, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what people do with their jobs. I don't go there with them.
How has the flat ended up in your hands?
He gave it to me.
Okay, so you were good friends. Did you meet on your
I
journey?
am going to ask. I assume you're aware that you're essentially lying.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to make a deceive roll versus Chris's notice roll. Contested roll. The first roll of the game.
Oh.
3. What's your notice roll?
-1.
-1. And have you got a notice?
What about
Have you got the
your-
notice skill?
Yes, I do. That is 2. So 1.
1.
So 1. So 1, and yours was.
3.
Yeah, 3 in total because those cancel each other out, and my deceive is +3.
So you're not suspicious of her, but
Yeah.
as far as you can tell, she seems
She's
honest. Yeah, she just her wiles are.
Just
Okay.
really good at what I do.
But you're kind of suspicious of most people, to be fair. But yeah, you're not
Would I
you're
have
not extra
any
suspicious.
perception
what do we-
of his inner thing?
Not really. No, he hasn't done anything about it
Okay.
in your presence so
Alright.
far.
What are we doing at James's?
And we're unaware, aren't we?
Well, just making sure that
You're aware that
She's
probably that
getting all
Yobanjo
these
speaks
letters
to himself
for
every
her.
now and then.
Yeah.
So we're
And
going to go
that's
through the
the
letters.
extent of-
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a
cool.
bit weird,
Yeah.
but he is a bit weird.
Yeah. Yeah, because I want to have a look at these papers that she's talking about.
you know where they are.
Yeah, I mean,
Easy to find.
yeah. Once we get in, I'll show you Adam, and then he can. I'll trust it with you, and then you can decide what to do with the information. Okay?
Right.
Whilst we go in, is it a flat or a house?
Flat.
It's a flat. First, like, what floor is it on?
3rd floor.
3rd floor, and it's in the tech, so it's kind of nice.
Pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there a concierge or anything, or is it just
There's a
like security
landlord.
door?
There's an on-site landlord
Yeah.
who lives in one of the downstairs
Okay.
flats who keeps a rough eye out.
Well, we have to.
He's probably asleep by now.
I just want to, before we go in,
Mhm.
just use my senses. I just want to make sure I can't
What's my landlord's name?
feel anybody in there.
I don't think we did. Give him a nice name.
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. Love it.
I'm gonna write that down.
Perfect. Lovely Jeremiah. So, feeling out your senses.
Mm.
Are we cool to go in?
Yeah,
To my flat.
So what are you sort of looking for?
What do you expect to be on?
Whether I can hear, or I can even use the X-ray vision actually to kind of look through to see if I can see anybody in there. I just kind of want to be extra cautious
In the flat itself?
in the flat itself. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can. Yeah, you enter the building. George pulls up outsand you instruct him to wait, presumably.
Yeah.
And you guys enter the building. You can
So we're not going
enter
to be
your code,
long.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
and
Beep,
enter
beep, beep,
inside.
beep, beep.
And you go up to the third floor apartment, and you sort of casually just look through the wall just to get a scan of the apartment.
I touch things a lot. You talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Feel the fabric of the wall.
And yeah, it seems to be empty. It's a fairly nice apartment, fairly standard. A living kitchen area, little dining room table, and a bathroom and a bedroom.
Yeah.
It's simple, but yeah, quite nice.
And
It's a
deserted.
single man's apartment or
That's
single
simple,
woman's.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll wait for you to open the door.
Okay, so I guess
You'll
there's
wait
a
for
sort of...
rather than kick the door down yourself.
Yeah.
You'll wait. That's very kind.
So I go in, obviously there's a living area. There's sort of a corner of the apartment which is like where a desk is. And...
You allowing all of us in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that rude, but...
Wait in the hall. I'll bring the information to you.
I'm not going to make you
I'll
a cup of
post it
tea or
under the
anything,
door.
but...
Whilst I'm in as well, I just want to do investigation as well, like all throughout the flat, just for mainly surveillance things.
Okay, sure.
Just to see if it's bugged.
Yeah.
Casually, or are you actively looking?
Actively.
Have you been in my apartment before?
So you're going to start.
It's just what it does in every
Okay.
apartment.
Right.
I mean,
He's just checking inside
Yeah.
lamps and things like. Nah.
Just like,
Corners
standard
of the
Adam.
I mean, there's nothing obvious, but you could, if you were going to do a properly active search, it's going to be pretty clear that's what you're doing.
yeah.
I mean, I don't mind. I'm sure I'm used to him being
Yeah,
weird about
I'm
stuff.
sure I'm used to.
Yeah. It's something that I
You want
Do
to
a
check
lot.
for bugs.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Make an investigate roll.
2. Oh, hang on. Don't roll.
No, you just draw 2. Oh no.
0.
What's your investigation then, normally?
You are?
Do you have an investigation skill?
Yeah, I've already added that as well.
Yeah.
So Adam just sort of gestures for everyone to be quiet for a second, but he moves around the flat, lifts up some seat cushions, checks the inside of the lamps, and just goes around electrical circuits, like plug sockets and things. But it don't seem to find anything out of the ordinary, no hidden cameras or anything like that.
Okay.
Oh, I'm concerned about James.
His actions put you guys a little bit on edge, because it's obviously like
He's just being a little
House.
overcautious.
Yeah, you've been living here for a while.
Generally.
I'm worried that it could have been my fault.
What do you mean?
Why
your
would it
fault?
have been your fault?
He was researching WX for me. If they clocked on to what he was doing, then there's every chance that they would have removed him from the equation, shall we say.
Provided they're still active as an organisation.
Well, do you have those letters, Morgana?
Yeah, so I'm going to go over to this corner of the apartment. There's like a desk and some sort of storage boxes in, and I probably, when I first got here, I probably went through these letters, but none of it made sense to me, or I'm looking for more personal stuff, so this stuff I really wouldn't have taken that much note to.
Probably box it up and set it
Yeah, so I'll take over the stuff. Obviously, it's a mix of work papers and just like bills and accounts and stuff. So, Adam, do you want to come over with me? And I'll show you what I have, and you can take out what's going to be helpful to you. So I show him the boxes and rifle through the pages.
Yeah, there's a lot of written notes, people's names, and some noted movements and things like that, and a kind of vague hierarchy of WX, or at least the side of WX that James knew. Some printouts of accounts and shipping information, and just general business activity. Maybe got I'm gonna say he's probably got a couple of photographs in there as well that they've been taken from a distance, and then sort of names scribbled on the back. But yeah, it's a very amateur.
Is there anything
almost amateur private detective?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Is there anything that stands out? Can we investigate further?
Yeah.
What sort of thing are you looking for? You've got time to go through these
Addresses?
if you want it.
Any addresses that
Yeah,
could be
can we
relevant
see
within
the
the
faces
city?
in the photographs? Or they're too
You can
blurry?
see some of them. Yeah, some of them aren't so good. He's not a professional, but yeah, you can make out some people. And obviously, presumably, the people whose names he
And the
scribbled on the
names
back
attached.
seem to be higher ups in the WX Corporation.
Yeah.
And the shipping addresses as well?
Well, it's more about the schedule. So
Okay.
they have, as Yobanjo already knows, they have ships that come into the docks every now and then to unload supplies and things, or whatever it is that they're unloading. They do some business out of the docks, it appears, and they've got a schedule for when that goes on.
But there's no patterns we can detect in it.
Nothing. Yeah.
Do we have
Regular.
any names or addresses that are worth noting?
No addresses.
No addresses.
There's some names of the higher ups of the company.
Okay.
So we've got I actually got the one written down. Alistair Crossley, or Dr. Alistair Crossley. He seems to be fairly senior, although James didn't know exactly what his
what he
position
did.
with the company
And
was.
we don't know what he does.
Crossley, CROSSLEY.
Anyway, yep.
Dr. Alistair Crossley. Yep.
And then he's got a couple of.
He is a medical doctor of some sort.
He has a doctorate in something.
Doctor of Pie.
Yeah. And then the only there's a few others, but there's two noted interest seem to be the senior members of the company, so the sort of board members, as it were.
So, like the CEOs.
James isn't sure. He doesn't interact with these people. He just knows
Yeah.
that he just knows that when they enter a room, everyone looks busy.
Okay.
And
Make
they're
sure
generally
that
wearing the
everyone
suit.
avoid eye contact, kind of thing. So there's a Naomi Phillips.
Okay.
Single or double L?
That's what I was about to say.
Single, let's say.
Very specific.
We're never going to identify her otherwise.
And an older gentleman, Ezekiel Crane.
Oh, how do you spell Ezekiel? That's such a
Ezekiel
good name.
Ekiial.
So, did James work for WX?
James did work for WX, yeah, and he was concerned about the work that he was doing. He didn't agree with it.
What do you mean he was concerned about the work he was doing?
He wasn't happy about doing it. He...
And
this is
what was
how
he
I was
doing?
able to approach him. He was mainly just shipping...
Shipping.
Yeah, shipping contents, containers, all sorts of stuff in and out.
Do you know what was in the
city.
containers?
No.
He supervised some of the shipments. This is what you know. He supervised a lot of the shipments coming in and out of the docks, and he also catalogued things and organised the things going from one place to another. Basically, he wasn't like particularly involved. He didn't necessarily know what these things were or where they were going. But his job was to make sure they went from the docks and got wherever they were meant to be.
In your dealings with James, do you ever get the feeling that he was working alone? So he was, because it looks like he's obviously compiling a case against them, or whether he potentially was an agent for another external organisation who was maybe getting him to get inside information.
I asked him to compile the information on WX for me. He was working for me in that respect, which is why I feel guilty about what's happened to him.
And this is why he's collected it to get him.
Yeah, exactly. So...
And how much of this did you know? Nothing.
Pardon?
You knew nothing of this?
I knew he worked for a place called WX. I knew he dealt with shipments. I don't know any more than that.
When was the last time you saw him?
I don't know, a few years ago.
A few years, and you've been living here ever since?
Yeah.
And he gave you his flat
Yes.
before he left or after?
Why is that important to you?
Because I knew that he was leaving, so I'm surprised that he didn't mention to me that he was going to give his flat to anyone. And also, it seems to me as though WX didn't get him, because if WX did get him, they would have come here and erased all this evidence.
Look, does any of this help you with what you need to know about WX or not? I mean, I'm happy to try and dig further. I don't know where else to look, but...
It does. It does. We have some names. But it doesn't answer.
Do you mind if I ask, where did you first meet James?
Well, before I came here... Look, I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest. Like, it's quite hard for me to talk about.
Oh, I say it's fair enough. Let's let the lady...
This is hard for all of us.
Some of her secrets.
Thank you.
This is not the time for secrets.
It is of personal matters. I don't see how this has got anything to do with you.
It hasn't. It hasn't got anything to do with what we're doing, which is taking down the information, finding out more about WX.
If I find anything else
my
about
informant's
WX...
dead, and she's living in his house. That has everything to do with what's happened to him.
Well, a lot of things happen in these parts of town that you don't necessarily get to have a look.
Shall we have a private conversation away from these guys right now?
Okay.
Because I know, obviously, something's up which you feel very uncomfortable talking about.
Do you want us outside, or you're going to
That's
take
fine.
us
I've just
outside?
brought her over to a corner.
Step into the bedroom properly.
All right.
Wait.
It's not all about sex.
I need, whether that's right now, I need you to be as cooperative as you can, because...
So let me lead into this conversation. So, you guys have been going through the papers and discussing, and then Jay sort of turns to Morgana and says, "Let's have a private word." And you're the most authoritative figure here,
Yeah.
so it's not unusual for you to be like, she works for you. You're just going to go and have a work. So the two of you step off into the bedroom, leaving you two alone in the living room with the papers before you.
I need you to be as cooperative as you possibly can, even if it's not for those guys outside, but certainly for me, because this is something that I've been trying to get to the bottom of for pretty much most of my life.
Okay, look, I will be as cooperative and try and help you with WX as possible, but I tell you now, what happened with James has nothing to do with WX. And that's all I want to say right now. And they don't need to know anything else because it doesn't concern WX. So I think if there's anything else they can do, please let me know. But as far as James is concerned, him going missing has nothing to do with this.
Okay. I'm trying to gauge as much of like detect lie or anything like that at all.
I mean, she's not lying to you. She's told you she's not telling you everything. She's obviously not telling you everything. I mean, you're not uncurious about WX yourself because you know James was a part of it. But yeah, she's
very
not,
curious.
She's not lying to you as such as you just know that she's not telling you things because she's told you she's not telling you things.
I mean, has any of you heard what you've heard tonight? Has that kind of piqued your interest in any way? Because obviously,
that guy saying that he didn't want to do what he was doing and doing those shipments, that concerns me. I want to know what now, if he was uncomfortable with his work, what that meant. Like, what was he doing that was so terrible? I want to know that. What is WX?
Oh, that's it. We need to find out.
Okay, well then I'll help you as much as possible, but for now I can't talk about James anymore.
Okay.
Meanwhile, are you guys up to anything in the other room with all the papers before you?
There's definitely something weird about her.
Yeah.
Weirder than you. Weirder than me.
That's saying something.
I'm gonna rummage around.
If she doesn't want to talk, she doesn't want to talk.
It's common courtesy to let your friend, or let someone know what happened to their friend when you do know and they don't. Anyway.
Well, I say there's a certain honour amongst us. You know, we keep secrets.
I agree. We do keep secrets. I'm gonna have a rummage around, see if I can find anything else relating to WX.
Amongst the papers or just amongst the flat in general?
Amongst the flat in general.
Okay, so you wander over to the desk and start poking through the stuff that Neve didn't bring out?
Yeah.
Is there anything hidden away?
I doubt I would have any paperwork at all. Maybe lack of paperwork for me might be something. I don't know. There's probably nothing.
Okay,
Does it look like she's actually done anything to the flat, or is it much as James would have left it?
I mean, it's not... If by that do you mean is she girlied the flat up? No, not really. It's fairly minimalist.
Are there any signs of anyone else in the flat?
Not obviously, no.
Okay.
Single plate in the sink.
Sad.
Single cup.
So sad for her.
Bins full of meals for one. Packets.
The next talk to the landlord if you're that
full of tears.
Well, I guess the next step is to find out who these names are, who these people are. Any ideas?
No, well, I mean, we can take it back to Adam's keyboard boy.
Yeah. To the Beatles.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
They can run a search on it.
I mean, you did deal with a lot of doctors, Lee, when you were at the facility, but you don't recognise Alistair at all. But he would, he might have been passing through. It was a long time ago. He would have been much younger.
Yeah. Well, that's true, actually. He might have been more junior, like in those days. But I don't recognise anything.
I mean, the one thing you guys have always struggled to find, and it isn't amongst this paperwork either, is a location for WX. They just don't seem to have a base. Or it's not a permanent one.
But I know where
You know where that place is, yeah. The place that you went to, but the building was the last time you went there, the building was abandoned. Or it was locked up, and there's nobody there.
I mean, I can take you to it.
I think that might be the next
trek around an abandoned building.
I spent my life trekking around abandoned buildings.
You look like a man trekking around abandoned buildings.
Make an investigation.
So both of us?
No, he's just poking around the desk.
Oh.
0. No, 1. -3.
-3, what are you adding? No, it's -2, that is.
This.
That's what you rolled, so you've got +1 and -3, which makes for -2.
And 3, which is 1.
I mean, no, it doesn't. Nothing. Nothing. She seems to have been honest and offered up everything that she knows or that she has. Your conversation didn't go on for too long,
No.
so after once as you're about to step away from the desk, these guys.
Hey, Buzz, are you happy with this? That this guy's going to take the papers with him?
So don't take anything else while you're at it.
Well, I was going to...
These are essentially my papers, but I mean, Adam, you could have them and give them to the Beatles.
Well, I
Perhaps
can get John, to run through them. If you're happy for me to, and we can try and get any information.
Definitely.
But yeah, once we're done with them, they're yours. I think just for the time being, just don't press anything more with this James.
Okay.
But obviously, Morgana is very happy to help us on trying to get to the bottom of WX.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. So what's the next step?
The facility.
Yeah.
As I say, I'll show you where it is. It's pretty much abandoned. If there's evidence there, probably been cleaned out years ago.
We get George to take us to.
Yeah. Are you gonna? So you're gonna gather up the papers? Are you taking the papers? Yobanjo?
I've given them to
Yeah,
Adam.
So
Yeah.
you gather them up, put them back in, probably like a filing cabinet kind of box that you've got nearby. Put them all back in there and take them out with you. And you exit the building. You can see George sat in the car, just boisterously singing along to something. You can't hear what it is though. But he spots you and quickly switches the radio off.
How far out's the facility, from what you can remember?
Couple of miles.
Yeah, it's not too far. It's just on the edge of the sort of tech district area.
Okay.
In one of the slumsier areas of it.
Right, we'll take George and go to the facility.
The car pulls up to a fenced-off building. It's a corrugated iron fence going all the way outside of this detached building, detached large, almost like it looks like a doctor's surgery, kind of like a little mini hospital.
And it's been abandoned. It looks.
The fence is relatively new, or at least it isn't supposed to be there. It's put in concrete blocks and or put around the outside, and you can see that there's a plant growing up and things, and you can see the main front door has got a chain through the locks and a big padlock on it. The windows look like they've been boarded up.
Okay.
Voila!
It's pretty spooky.
I'm gonna.
As I said, you're gonna have to break in if you want to get it.
It doesn't look that uncommon in this neighbourhood. This neighbourhood's fairly run down, but this is even considering that this is still, it's obviously been here a long time. There's plants all growing up the walls. There's an abandoned car in the car park that's just inside the fencing.
So can we hop the fence?
You
Quite
probably could,
easily enough.
you could climb over the fence. Doesn't look to be.
I'm just going to
Anyone
send
who
those
stop you?
names over to John as well.
Just a little text.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean,
just
I've
try to
got
get
my
as much
basic
information on that.
burglary skills and my lockpick something.
Okay, sure.
I'm just gonna. I'm sorry about James. Okay, and I'm sorry I gave you a hard time about it. He was my friend.
Just note, he just touched me.
Yeah, when I had
You
when
guys
I,
are squeezed in the back.
when I had my hand on her.
Is this over me, is it?
Depends what order you guys are sat in.
Very awkwardly
He's all
touching
the way
me.
around, elbow in your face.
When I had
Elbow
my
on the
hand on
shoulder.
her. Can I use my psychic surgery to see if I can sense anything different about her physicality?
Yeah, sort of with your
Okay.
wife's influence as well. I would say that.
Yeah.
You could try and do that. What is different about physicality? Would you essentially?
Well, in
Is
my
it-
description, I am just very pale, but my skin is slightly illuminity in terms of in the water. It would look a little bit like fishy, but apart from that, I look pretty much human.
Sure.
I think there's probably in in the city going past every day and look like a normal person. If you tried to stare at me for too long, there might be something a bit weird about me.
Would he be able
I am half human anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Would he be able to sense anything about your sort of demonic?
I don't know.
Essence.
I've never really, I don't know.
There must be something different about you physically.
Her physicality, yeah, 'cause you could breathe
I'm
underwater
strong.
for a start.
Yeah, and I
You're quite
probably...
you can sense something different about her. She seems to be essentially human, but something's different about her physicality.
Okay.
It's just the way her body seems to work, particularly her lungs.
Right. Okay.
And her skin.
Maybe I have
is
gills, but they're
slightly
hidden
off.
behind my hair or
Could be,
something.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
she's definitely not 100% human.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're all done with the
Touchy feely.
yeah.
Sorry.
Get out
Sorry,
the car.
I know you get touchy about these things.
Get on with the brake.
Let's,
Yeah, I'm out of this car as quick as I can.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
Now you exit.
Is there any electrocution signs on the fence or anything? Or
Nope.
I'm doing a combined notice investigation of surveillance again.
Sure.
Yeah, check
cameras
if there are
and
any
things.
CCTV.
Yeah, you can take your time to sort of
Yeah.
look about. There doesn't seem to be anything. I mean, there are cameras on that side of the building, but they just seem to be dead. They're just hanging.
Yeah.
Can I investigate to see if there's a hole in the fence anywhere or a weak point somewhere in the fence?
You can probably find a hole. Yeah, if you guys want to take a moment to circle the building, you
Yeah.
can find where there's probably a gap slightly, because the fence is connected to each other and it's placed inside the concrete blocks. It's like it's a sort of makeshift, how you
yeah,
get
so
a
you
festival
can,
or something.
yeah.
There's probably a few gaps here and there where it's not quite connected to each other.
So
I'm just gonna
it's
hop
been
it.
put in place to keep people away
Yeah.
from it.
Yeah.
It's not been like
To be defended.
rigidly put up, but it's just kind of
Yeah.
been put there to just
Okay.
Deter
Yeah.
the casual sites. Yeah.
So it looks like maybe it might be easier for me to pry open a boarded window than, unless any of you guys are particularly good with locks.
I am.
Well, you're just gonna skillfully leap over. Have you got athletic skills and things?
Yeah.
Yeah. So quite nimble. So, Morgana sort of scampers up the fence and flips over and lands on the other side and just looks at you guys like, "Come on." It's not superhuman, but it's quite skilled.
Yeah.
I'm just going to side through that gap.
Yeah.
Stuff up with a nice suit.
Yeah, I'll just scuttle through the gap.
Is there anyone around? Like publicly?
No, not really. Might be a
George,
couple of
in the
people
car.
sort of loafing about.
Okay.
Might
Yeah,
have
well,
driven
George
past a
is
few
watching
people.
our backs, presumably.
Yeah, George
Yeah.
is sat in the car, just sort of observing. Like,
Will
what are you
alert
doing?
us if anyone
Yeah.
turns up.
Diana, you come up to the fence to try and squeeze through where Jay just squeezed through and sort of stumbles to the other side, like, oh, I haven't damaged my suit, have I? And you go up to the same gap and just lean on it, and the fence just swings open completely fully.
I can't stop doing stuff before you.
There's now just an
Well,
open,
I'm just gonna walk
hallway.
through.
Do you want any of my lockpicks to go to work?
I got my own. I mean, what's your burglary?
It's only average.
Are we?
Probably better than
Are we at a doorway or or window or?
You can be whatever you want. There is a main door. There's presumably a back door as well. Maybe a couple of side sort of fire escape exits in the windows.
The boarded up things. Can I see through to see if there's any smashed windows or whether there is window panes against them?
Yeah, you can take your time to check. You can
Yeah.
you can probably find one of the windows that's cracked at least. Looks like it might be smashed in places.
Just wondering
easier
whether
to
it's
force.
whether it's easier to go in that way. And what's the lock look like on the actual main
Big
doors?
chunky padlock.
Padlocks are generally easy to pick though. If it's just a normal padlock, is it a numbered padlock?
No, it's
it's just
a key padlock
Key
with a chain,
padlock.
and then the door behind it could well be locked as well.
Right.
You know, it's just that's in front of the door.
I'm going to see if I can just pry open the board from the window while they're faffing around and see if it comes away easily or if it's really
I'm not faffing.
Nail.
It's
Sathing, surveilling,
so Morgana starts working. Just work your fingers into a gap and start prying off on it. It will eventually come off. Pretty obvious. What are you guys going to be?
How big are the windows as well, by the way? Can we fit through humans?
Yeah, you could climb through a window. Yeah.
Is there a fire escape?
Yeah, there's some fire exits. You spot it as you were circling, checking out the fence. You can see there was a couple
I
of.
might check out one of the fire escapes, see if there's.
Sure. It's not designed to be open from the outside, but maybe you could figure out a way.
Well, I might use my.
Are you actually in?
No, but I probably
moving
getting
forces.
bored off it by this point.
Telekinesis to try and bash the door open.
Try and bash the door inwards.
Yeah.
So just kind of go in front of it, in the viewing of anybody else.
No.
Sort of sneak away.
I hope, yeah.
I suppose if it's the fire escape.
So you guys are kind of splitting up. Or what?
Maybe that's not sensible.
Well, I guess.
Well, I mean, if we're just spread around the
if we can make an
periphery
opening
of it, it's not really split.
Yeah,
whoever makes an opening first can let us know.
Sure.
Do I get the board off?
Yeah, you're probably.
Seeing as everyone's their own
Can
thing,
I
I'm
look
going to
around
try
to
and
see
pick
if
them
there's
up.
Yeah, you have a go at the
I
lot.
just want to find out what these guys are doing
Okay.
first.
Do you need to roll for that?
Adam and Garrett, what are you up to?
We're going to go through the main entrance, yeah. I just want to make sure whether I can detect whether there's going to be any alarms or anything before attempting this, though.
Okay. As far as you can tell, power seems to be dead inside the building, so probably not.
And you're better at burglary than I am.
I got good burglary.
Yeah, that's better than me.
I'm
So
just
you
shit
should
at rolling.
probably. Well, still.
Can I have aid from Garrett?
Well, if you're taking your time, you don't need to roll.
Yeah.
Taking your time, you
Cool.
can eventually
Yeah.
pick this padlock. So you're picking the padlock. You're going to try and force your way in through, and you just pried a board off one of the nearby windows.
Good teamwork, guys. It's no INT.
Better be something worthwhile. Isn't it?
You kind of are you trying to sort of subtly, so these guys don't really know what you're doing. Just sort of elbow and then just.
Yeah.
Was he round the back as well?
He's probably gone round the side,
Fire
yeah,
escape.
to one of the fire escapes.
So we're maybe not paying much attention.
You're going to have to put some serious force. You have
Some
to.
welly
This door's
into
not designed to open inwards,
Yeah.
so you literally have to destroy it effectively to push it inwards. Which you can do if you want.
Maybe I
it's
should
gonna be
try
noisy
and do it. Outwards, then.
That would be more common sense.
Yeah, it would.
Is that a voice you hear?
Your wife is like, come on.
Yeah,
Your
you're
head.
right. You're right.
Open your play now.
Again, seeing as no one's looking, I can do it
So
without.
yeah, you sort of think, oh, maybe I can exert some force from the inside and pull the
the bar.
bar from
Yeah.
the inside and adjust the door open. Yeah, so you sort of start concentrating on that. You've got the board off now.
Can I have peer in and see what's inside the window? Can I see anything, or is it just dark, or can I see
It looks
outlines?
pretty dark. It looks like a
An abandoned warehouse.
no, it's like an office of some sort. There's
Okay.
probably the doctor's office. There's like a not a sofa, not a stretcher either. Like a raised bed, like you get in a doctor's room. That
Okay.
someone would lie on to be
Is there,
examined.
like,
And there's a desk and
cabinets and
everything.
So
stuff?
it's like an
Okay.
examination room.
There's a computer in there. It seems just abandoned. Doesn't seem like it's been ransacked or anything. It
Okay.
just seems...
Can I have a look around and see if there's like a rock or anything?
Yeah, you can probably find
Rock.
a brick or a rock on the ground nearby.
Cool. What do okay, cool. I guess
The doctor's pet rock.
I'll try and I don't know. You're supposed to wrap it in a cloth first, aren't you? Before you break
I want
through
to
a
break the window.
Yeah.
See.
I should
So
take my
it's
jacket
inside,
off and
okay.
wrap my jacket in the rock.
I
And
don't think it
Must do
matters
an elbow.
unless if it's
Yeah,
just.
but then I might cut myself.
Oh, your elbow.
Maybe I'll just use the rock.
Haven't
as
you
my-
got-
Yeah.
just try and crack the window with the rock, but
Sure, yeah.
from
Okay.
at arm's reach. So I
Put a
don't
rock in your sock.
got any
So-
shards
rock
in
in
my
the
eye or anything.
So simultaneously,
So we'll hear that.
you take the rock and wrap it in your. Only just using smash.
Yeah,
it.
it's gonna
So you
smash.
take a rock and just find a brick on the ground
Okay.
nearby, and you just sort of whack at the window, and a big chunk of it where it was cracked before sort of falls out, and you just jump back.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Jay, you feel the padlock click in your hand, and it comes open, and the chain sort of goes slack, and you force of will just kind of pull her forwards, and you hear the bar click on the side, and the fire escape opens. So you now have 3 ways in.
Guys, I've opened the fire escape.
It's cool, I'm good.
Yeah, we've undid the padlock.
God,
Subtlety!
And that concludes this part. Hope you enjoyed that. Once again, please do give us a like and a review and any other love that you can. Post it around. Find us on Twitter at A Game of Fate Pod. You can also find my other show that this show sort of sprung out of. It's the Deleted Scene podcast, which you can find on SoundCloud and iTunes and all the other places. And you can find that on Twitter at Deleted Scene Pod. That's where me and a few friends talk movies and TV and films, because we're all writers and filmmakers and actors and things like that. So yeah, we want to talk about the world that we love and live in. If you want any information on the players or any other elements of the show, I'll try to include links in the descriptions below. Anyway, to hear more of these characters and this story and see where this is going, please do tune in next time for part 3 of The Path of the Lost. Bye for now.